check it out.
Right. Like a Doug Polk.
Oh, that's
for
me
example.
talking.
I would bet that he would have a tough time with Queen Win heads up.
Let's
Maybe
turn
if he
me
plays
down.
him 100
That's
times,
like,
he'll figure it out.
I can't listen to myself talk. Yeah, let's get rid of my talking. Nobody wants to hear that. You can't hear me talking twice, you know? Okay, so it went a raise. Ryan Hemmel raised with King Queen to 20, and then a call by Robert with threes. You call. Oh, Alec call just flats a smaller with nines, and then I think that's a 4x raise. You're getting a really good price. You know, if it was like 30, I'd probably fold there. Your stack is kind of shallow, but I think it's.
Oh no, they have the chip stacks wrong. I have like I think definitely over 500, but it might be closer to 1,000.
Okay, gotcha. So you flop an open ender, and let's see. So we'll go through the hand and then we'll talk about it. So Robert has his bottom set. Of course, he's gonna bet. Let's pause it right here. So Alec folded.
So basically, it was check to the button. He bets bottom set.
And he had flatted a free flop.
Yeah, he had flatted free flop.
First flatter. Yep. And so now, what are you thinking here before we see what you do?
So here it's like, I elect to check raise because it makes the hand easier to read, and you may make a tight player fold like a jack or something, like even queen jack.
And what's your stack about here? 5 something?
I think I have like 5. I mean, if you look at the stack, like I have at least 5 whites there.
Yeah.
We'll
see. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have at least 500. So yeah. So basically, I am hoping for a little bit of fold equity, and if he has a monster like he does, a lot of people just elect not to jam it right there.
So you could still realize some of your equity.
Yeah. So basically, I see a turn, and one of the great.
So the worst case is that you're going to raise to 140. He's going to jam, and you're going to have 400 behind, and you're not going to know what to like. What do you do? Are you going to call off? Or?
I mean,
you're just going to call and gamble, basically.
You don't know these things until they actually happen.
Right. No, I'm just thinking it's good to think of a plan, though, right?
Right. Yeah. So basically, obviously, if they have a flush draw, my hand is in pretty bad shape to get it in. Right. If it's against top pair, I have I could have upwards of 38% equity.
The button could have anything too.
Yeah, you could have anything
ace 5.
too. Right. Yeah. That's why I elected to check raise here. It just so happens he has a set of threes, but one of the things also is when you check raise with the draw, and you get there, and they actually had a monster, you get everything, which essentially what happens here. So the other thing too is if he had a flush draw and the turn bricks out, I'm able to push him off.
Especially if you have a little more than pot.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those spots where you have to figure out how much you have behind after this compared to how much is going to be in the pot.
Yeah.
And so you want to have somewhere close to pot if you're going to do that, I think.
Yeah.
So, let's say he calls here and it's 400. Like if you have over 400, that'd be a great spot to just overbet shove the turn. If the turn is like a 8 of hearts.
Of course, I get extremely lucky and I make the nuts.
Wow.
So,
so now, what are you thinking here? So now you have, say, 400 left?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I'm more. I end up betting because he raises me all in. I just, put my stack in. Right. But it's like, it's easy to play the nuts.
What is your thoughts when this turn comes? What are you thinking in your mind? You're like, oh yeah, hallelujah.
Well, I am hallelujah, but at the same time, the hand's not over. Like if he flopped a set or he flopped a flush draw, like.
So it looks like you have 2 something back.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it's true. You don't know yet that you won the hand. Yeah, so you had 370 total. Yeah. You made it 140.
So yeah, easy, but if we have the flush draw or the set, it's like it's not smooth sailing. They could still redraw.
Yeah. So are you gonna? So what would you do if like an 8 of hearts peeled on the turn? Were you gonna just shove?
I was actually
shut
just
down?
gonna ship it. If a club came, I was going to check because now whatever he called on the flop, he is almost assuredly going to continue, whether it's a set or he just made the flush. So in this particular case,
right.
If the board paired, I'm not sure I might ship it too. It's really hard because too, especially for no limit, live, like a lot of the times you do just get a reaction. So once he called the check raise on the flop, I was actually obviously not very happy. And I do remember he was a pretty snug player, so I was going to shut down. If
because he can be trapping so easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think you played the hand well. Obviously, it's a good turn card, but I think as long as you have a round pot left, then this can work a lot by shoving the turn. A lot of times people are going to bet flop. They're going to call a check raise. They're not really sure what to do after that, and then you can kind of just like out aggro them on the turn and put them in a bad spot. But, sometimes people just are just calling with no plan.
Right. So, when you go aggro on anyone, you have a small window to get somebody's reaction.
Right.
So in this case, my reaction was to just like, if a club came, pretty much shut down.
The important thing is that you had a plan.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the biggest thing I would say to people out there is like when you're going to make a move or when you're going to play a hand at all, just always have a plan of like what you're going to do next.
Right. Just know which cards
Exactly.
you're going to shut down. And that's just very important because it's like everybody makes plays. But if you make a play and then the other guy just, starts screaming strength or like he's never going to fold, it's time to stop making the play.
Yeah, you can't be too aggressive where you're just like never shutting down on a certain card.
Right.
There's always spots to shut down and give up. You can't just not give up or you're just going to bluff off all the time.
Yeah.